What's going on, traders? Welcome to this week's Forex forecast. If this is your first time to my channel and you want to try to grow your trading account and learn more about supply and demand, start now by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. So the currency ranking has not changed since the last week that I updated it. No important data has come out in order for the data to be changed. So we're still looking at the same currency ranking, and unfortunately the COT data will not be released until Monday due to the American Thanksgiving. So unfortunately this week we will not have any COT data to look at, but we can still look at the charts, see what's going on, and we'll have to keep in mind that looking at the previous COT data the last couple weeks, we've noticed that banks and institutions have been taking profits on most of their long positions or short, whatever pair we're looking at. And so we'll have to keep that in mind while we look at all the charts on all the majors this week. All right, so looking at the US dollar, they are ranked number one. Like I said before, we do not have the COT data, but the week before they were 49% long to 51% short. So I'm sure the data will be similar. I'm sure the COT data will be basically the same. I don't expect a huge crazy difference. And if you look at the monthly chart here, I've talked about it before. I think we're still headed towards into this monthly demand zone, and as you can see, we're getting this nice black or red candle, whatever color your charts are. We're getting this nice move down into this monthly demand area. And so I do expect this daily zone to be completely broken. It's looking pretty weak. It had the initial rally right there out of the zone, and then the supply zone is holding. And real quick, why is this a supply zone right here? This is a weird looking 50% candle. So it's a tough one. I don't know if I definitely drew this after the fact. It's just you have to draw them in. It's pretty important. So there's a trend line down here. We had this zone here that was it was exactly on the trend line, and it broke this supply zone and this trend line. That was a very strong zone. And then there was this other zone here that was kind of the move away. You could even actually draw it something like this if you really wanted to be a little bit more conservative. I'm just basing this off of my analysis and all the chart work that I've put in. But anyways, so these two zones are broken by this zone, and look at how nicely this zone held very well. So I do expect this monthly or this daily to break, and I honestly don't think that we'll probably see an initial reaction off of this monthly demand zone, but I do expect us to probably come to this weekly area of demand right here. It's a very strong move away, and if you draw a trend line, actually it would point directly to that weekly area of demand. So for the dollar, that's what I see happening. It's still tough. You don't really want to buy the dollar just yet because it's still not in this monthly demand, so it is still getting weak. It's just it might be slow getting there, and that's all that we really should know and keep in mind. So now we're on to the Euro US dollar, and it's similar to the US dollar chart we just looked at. We're coming up to this monthly supply on the euro, and it looks like we are going to head up there as well. Obviously, if we think the US dollar is going to do it as well. If you look on the daily here on the bottom left, we are in this daily supply zone. It is a pretty wicky zone. I think since we're past this wick right here at 1.195, I think that we will have no problem breaking this daily zone, similar to the daily demand on the DXY. And if you look at the 4-hour here, we are on an uptrend, and this 4-hour zone was just broken as well. So all signs are showing a move to the upside, and like I talked about in some of my last couple videos, I'm only looking for confirmation, more specifically 4-hour confirmation for any trades I'm taking, because we could see a move down from here, but I'd have to see a pretty significant 4-hour idea trade to really be taking a short on this trade. And to go long around here, it's pretty risky to do. And I have talked before in some of my previous forecasts, this monthly downward trend line. And what I think is taking place is the institutions, the banks, they know that this trend line is here. And as you can see, what are the odds that at this trend line we are seeing, clearly there's some price action going around because there's a nice move up. Oh, what are the odds of that? We hit this trend line and, some indecisiveness here. And as you can see on the daily, this whole thing is this indecisiveness right there around this monthly downward trend line. So I think that they are using that trend line for traders to go short, and then for them to just pick up all those shorts to move price higher to this monthly supply, and then we'll see a move down. And long term, this is what I would like to see. Up here, maybe start shorting the euro up there, looking for some shorts, move down here, where we start to close our shorts and start to look for longs in this beautiful monthly demand zone for a push higher. That's what I would like to see, but as for now, I'm only looking for confirmation. I think you'll realize that I'm only looking for confirmation on most pairs right now due to the banks taking profits as they show in the COT reports and as it's looking like on the chart, and it's just kind of indecisive. I don't want to call this an uptrend yet until it breaks this daily zone. Even if it becomes an uptrend on the daily, we're still met by some pretty monthly supply, and that's a pretty big force in the market. So buying right now in the euro is a little sketchy. Even though, yes, it could go up, it's just still a little nerve-wracking. So I would stay away from just placing, limit orders or set and forgets or anything. I would look for some pretty solid confirmation before making a move on the euro. Okay, looking at the Aussie dollar, if you look at the daily here, this pretty significant daily supply zone was broken by this daily demand zone right here. As you can see, I drew it out and I drew the zone remove right here. I know some guys in the mastermind trading group were talking about this zone right here, and it is selling. You can't deny that that is a decent move away, and I do expect to see a little trouble here. We might even see something like this take place where we come down and get back into this daily demand for a move higher. Anything's possible. I just don't like this area for shorts. And if you are going to look for shorts in this area, I'd be very careful, and maybe definitely only look for 4-hour confirmation. The 4-hour is on an uptrend here. This trend line is getting a little wacky. I didn't really want to draw this. It's pretty aggressive. But in the monthly here, it looks like this trend line is going to break. We'll still have to wait, a whole other month to see if this trend line will officially break, because we need a full candle close outside of it. But it is looking like it is going to break. And this not so great supply zone that was already tested once before, it looks like it is going to break. That I would definitely put my money on that. But we are going to be met by some more supply up here. But it looks like this is a start of a bigger move on the Aussie US dollar. And this weekly demand that took out this supply. Look how beautiful that worked right there. Unbelievable. So that weekly supply is holding. If we get above this here, which it clearly looks like we are, it's a pretty significant move. And even though we are high in the monthly here, I would still probably look for a 1-hour or a 4-hour confirmation inside of this daily, just because momentum to the upside is so strong. And it would be a little risky because of where we are, but based on the fact that the momentum is so strong, and looks like this monthly supply is going to be broken. Is it risky? Yes, but that's why I would look for confirmation only. But if price came back and broke this supply, then came back into this demand, I'm buying all day. So, and when price gets up here, maybe I'll look for a 4-hour short, because the daily will most likely be on an uptrend and the weekly will be on an uptrend. So maybe we will look for a short up there. But what I see now is to be careful around that supply right there, and this demand zone is not bad, just a little risky. So like I said, on most pairs, it's mostly all confirmation for the time being. And hopefully when we look at the COT reports next week, the banks will show their hands more, because if price is contacting this monthly supply and we look at the COT reports next week and it looks like they're still buying, well, that's a pretty good sign that price is probably going to go up higher for them to take profits even higher. More because they've been taking profits here this whole time. So it looks like they want to push price up higher, take more profits around like the 78, 80 area. All right, looking at the British pound, they are ranked number 4, so they are somewhat in the middle. And as regarding last week's COT data, they are 63% short, 37% long, so majority short. but not really that much of a difference here, but I am expecting a move down. This monthly trend line here, it looks like it's having trouble get up there. Clearly there's some supply stepping in here. And if you look on the daily, this was a pretty decent supply zone that was broken. And I'm not saying that this is a tradable zone. I would never take a set. I wouldn't say never, but I most likely would never really take a set and forget on this zone. I just marked this zone out as a zone that removed this significant supply zone. So I do expect if price does come down in here, I am expecting a rally up if it does react off here. I'm not really sure where it's going to go. Maybe to this selling up here, and we are if you look in the top right corner, we are in this weekly supply zone right there. But if you go up a little higher, there's not too much going on up here. You could say that this is some more supply right here at the 1.35 1.35 area, 1.36. But it's not the best, and the weekly momentum still is up. It was kind of lost here, but clearly this is still an uptrend. So I would like to see, if I'm going to go long, I would like to see a break of this supply zone, maybe a strong daily zone, but I'm still going to be looking for confirmation. We'll have to look at the COT data for next week on Monday. Maybe I'll make a video throughout the week talking about the COT data, but ultimately I would like to short this pair. And what I would like to see, we talked about it in the mastermind trading group. Somebody asked if this 4-hour trend line was broken. It was not yet, at least. Or actually, yeah, now it has. My bad. Because when he asked, it was just this candle, and this candle was still playing out. But now this trend line has officially broken with this whole candle close. So we are seeing a momentum shift on the 4-hour, and actually I'm going to draw the zone right here, right now while we're here. It's kind of a weird zone, but I'd probably draw it something like that. Maybe a little smaller like that. And I could definitely see us having some trouble at that 4-hour momentum. I still wouldn't really short that based on the fact that we are reacting off this daily supply. So if I'm going to short, which is what I ultimately would like to do, because this kind of looks like it's similar to the Aussie, right? But I'm more a little bearish on the pound. So what I'd really like to see is for price to maybe react off this daily, create another zone, push down, break that daily, and then get a nice 4-hour trade or maybe a daily setup here. But where we run into problems is this trend line on the daily. So as you can see, if this happened, it would still be reacting off of this trend line. So it is a tough call, but it would be, I think it'd be better to short, because if this does happen right here, that means that this weekly zone this weekly supply is holding. So hopefully with the carports, we can get a little more confluence and maybe see them adding to their shorts, getting rid of some longs, because they are kind of high up here in this monthly. It's kind of a monthly range. This isn't perfect, but there's clearly been a range here where this is the high and this is the low, right? So hopefully we see them taking some profits, and if they do and this happens, I most likely will be shorting this pair around here. But we're still a few, probably maybe a week or two away from that possibly happening. And if it does go a little higher, then maybe we'll look for some longs. We'll have to see the COT data too to see what the banks are up to. Okay, on to the US dollar, Japanese yen. They are ranked number 3. It's probably the strongest buy in my opportunity, even though we are coming up to this monthly demand zone that has been somewhat tested before. And there's according to last week's COT data, they are 79% long to 21% short. So, basically call it 80-20. It's pretty significant, and if I don't recall, they actually added to their longs last week. So, I do expect a move down, which would be strength for the Japanese yen. Beautiful reaction off of this. Oh, my chart's got all whacked there. Beautiful reaction off of this daily supply level here. Beautiful move down. And this little, I wouldn't call it supply because it didn't achieve anything, but this little supply zone right there is holding up price at the moment, and there is a downward trend line that has not been broken yet. It's a tough call. I actually missed a 1 hour here, I believe. Actually, no, it wasn't on this pair, but or up here, yeah, nice little weird zone here, but there's a lot of opportunities on a 1 hour chart if you really pay attention and have all the proper zones marked out. This supply held pretty well. It's not really the greatest supply, but it did remove a trend line and it had a nice reaction down. I don't know if I want to be shorting just yet, only because we are getting so close to this buying area. I don't think the zone will hold or have any significance, but maybe a push down to here, a nice push up, and give us maybe a nice trend line break or something like that to go short. Because as of now, I'm not really that experienced in taking tested zones, and this is tested pretty deeply. So if price does come up to here in this area, in the 105,400 to 106, I'd probably start looking for a nice 4-hour confirmation where a nice 4-hour trend line was removed and a nice couple 4-hour zones, because according to the daily here, there's not much going on. So I don't mind this daily supply right here. You could actually probably make it a little bit bigger just in case we don't miss it. But yeah, I just think this daily zone won't hold. I don't think, because it's so tested. But we'll have to wait and see. We are in this monthly supply, so we have to expect a move higher. And as you can see right here, there's been a nice reaction off of this monthly demand zone already. Did I say monthly supply earlier? That's my bad. We are contacting this monthly demand, so we should, selling short is a little risky. So that's why that's another example of why I'm looking for confirmation lately, and why I'm doing it even on this pair. So, as far as the 4-hour and the 1 hour goes, there's not much going on here. I drew this 1 hour zone, I think, earlier this morning. Price came up, never hit it. I didn't even have an order here. A little too risky for me, but I think there will be plenty of short opportunities on the USD yen. And if price breaks this demand zone on the monthly, I think it's all downward from there. So, and with that being said, they're ranked number 3. They've been ranked pretty high for a while, and the banks have still held their long positions on the Japanese yen for quite a while. So I'm pretty bullish on the Japanese yen. We'll have to see with the COT reports what happens and what the chart gives us in the next couple weeks. All right, looking at USDCAD, I did have a monthly demand zone here, and it's still holding up price, so I will maybe just keep it drawn, but I did remove it for a couple reasons, but I'm going to actually keep it drawn. But clearly there was this monthly trend line up and reacting off of it, pretty similar to all the other pairs. This is a weird one because Canada is currently ranked dead last according to fundamental data, and according to last week's COT reports, they are 64% short and 36% long on the Canadian dollar. But the chart never really reflects it, so I always have a hard time with the Canadian dollar pairs. But clearly the daily is on a downtrend. This zone reacted very nicely on here on this chart. And if you look at the 4-hour, these zones have all been holding pretty decently, so it is pretty bearish. What I would ultimately like to see in order to take a big short position on a daily would be for this to break, maybe getting a shorting opportunity right down to there. But as for now, not much is going on. You could actually draw it's kind of a bigger trend line, but you could draw this out right now on the 4-hour. Oh my god, I'm having a hard time here. That's my bad. But yeah, you could draw this downward trend line right here. This is on the 1-hour actually. That's my bad. Nice 1-hour downtrend. I think there's a 4-hour downtrend too. This is supposed to be on the 1-hour. Actually, that could be a 4-hour too. That's my bad. That could actually be a little decent trend line on the 4-hour. So yeah, it's a tough call. A lot of these pairs are tough calls. That's why I'm only looking for confirmation in all of them. We could see a rally from this demand because clearly buyers have been, stepping up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice move away. So, and it looks like we are breaking under this low right here to test this zone, this buying area even deeper. So it'll be interesting to see how this reacts. And according to the COT data, they're 64% short on the Canadian dollar, which means that essentially this should go up, right? Because you'd be buying the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So according to that, we should see a push up, but it is related to oil, and oil has been seeing a nice rally up, and I do expect I'll break down oil later in this video, but I do expect to move higher in oil as well. So we could. It's a really tough call. I'm gonna have to see some nice. If I'm gonna go long, I'm gonna have to see some really nice daily confirmation. And since this daily zone had pretty good significance, like it had a nice reaction from it, I would really like to see, maybe we'll screw around like this, break the zone, break this trend line, come back, boom, boom, like that. I couldn't move my screen, but something like that, where we break this trend line and this supply zone at the same time. That is what I would really like to see. That's where I would be really eager to go long without even looking for confirmation inside a daily zone. So that's what I'm waiting for in US dollar CAD. As for now, in the 4 hour, I wouldn't be taking any shorts down here since we are near this older daily demand zone here. If you are going to take some shorts, I would at least wait to below here, but then we're still in this monthly demand, so it's all kind of risky. So only high quality. All right, the last currency pair on the list, USD Swiss. The Swiss was one of the highest ranking currencies for the last like 10 reports I did, but now they're at number 5. But I think that's just temporary US and Euro data. But the COT reports according to last week's, they're 80% long, 20% short, so pretty strong, pretty strong buy in my opinion. But the only problem is on the pair USD Swiss, we are in this monthly area of demand. This wick down, I don't really, according to my new analysis, I don't really consider that broken because it's just an emotional candle down. And you'll notice that a lot of the times these demand zones will still hold. And it has been. We've seen a nice reaction off of this monthly demand. And I was hoping we get up to here on the weekly for a nice short. And that is my ultimate shorting setup, would be up there. But I don't know if we're going to get it. It's tough because the daily still looks weak. And if I'll blow up the daily here. And if you look at the daily, this trend line here that I drew from this point, actually, never mind. This point, it was only drawn because this low was broken. But, a very nice reaction off of this daily supply. But, like I said, it's kind of risky just shorting a whole supply zone because of the fact that we're touching this monthly demand now. But it is somewhat tested. Like I definitely count this, but it's not super significant to me. What I really want to see is the COT data to see, are they adding to their shorts on Swiss? Are they adding to their longs? But there's not much going on up here. This was the whole daily shorting setup. So what I'd really like to see is a new supply that maybe breaks this low on the daily to look for another confirmation. But like I said, with all the pairs, I'm only looking for confirmation based on the fact that we are in this near the higher time frame opposing zone. So that is the safest bet and the safest thing you could do in this situation. So not much going on here. We'll have to wait for the COT data to let the banks show their hand more. And yeah, that's pretty much it for USD Swiss. All right, looking at gold, pretty significant monthly demand zone in gold that we're contacting right now. That is in line with the upward trend line, and we're actually in this weekly demand right now. It's a little risky just buying. I was talking to the mastermind trading group, and I mentioned that if you're looking to acquire physical gold due to inflation, stuff like that, which maybe I'll make a whole podcast about that whole aspect. We are in this weekly supply zone, and it looks like it's gonna break. So as far as this monthly demand zone goes for gold, what I want to see this supply zone removed, or at least one supply. I want to see this momentum to the downside shift before thinking of going long, and maybe even thinking about before acquiring more physical gold. It might be the smartest thing to do. It is a little risky just buying in this whole monthly demand zone, even though it's pretty strong. But we are at an all-time high situation, and I could see a move away. If this zone does break, man, I don't expect it to go any lower based on the fundamentals, all that kind of stuff. But this weekly demand zone looks like it might break. I just don't know. I haven't done all my chart work on gold, but I'm sure I don't see gold going back down to like 1600, just to be quite honest. I mean, anything can happen. That's definitely possible, and if I remember correctly, the last week the banks were actually adding to their gold position, and I think removing some shorts as well. So we'll have to look at the new COT data that's going to come out on Monday for that as well, to see if they're still going to be acquiring some gold. And I think we could honestly just float around this area for like a few months. And but like I said, long term, I'm very, very, very bullish on gold and silver. So based on all the fundamental data that, like I said, I can make a whole podcast about that. But yeah, I would wait for a daily momentum shift before thinking about going long on gold. All right, here we are with oil. Oil still looking extremely bullish. Looks like we were having a hard time at this monthly slash weekly supply zone, but I mentioned it in the group. I posted this picture here. We have a new weekly trend line going up. Still in this weekly supply. I expect it to break. All signs are looking like it's headed to the upside. The daily is a little overextended. I posted this in the group. This significant supply zone was removed by this very nice demand zone. I really like this demand zone. It's still looking like a lot of the other pairs, like the euro, the Aussie, I think the pound. It looks similar to the pound, where the daily zones have been broken. And it's a little risky just buying the daily, but it might be a risk that I might have to take, because I'm pretty bullish on oil, and I'm kind of upset that we didn't get the COT data for this week just yet, because oil is always the one I'm looking forward to looking at the COT data the most, only because they are so bullish on it that I'm always interested to see if they're adding long still. And what I'm kind of expecting is for them to add shorts and longs at the same time. Maybe sell most of their position that they acquired down at the $20 area up in the 60s, 65 areas. Long term, I'm pretty bullish on oil, but once we get to this trend line here, I definitely expect price to move a lot higher, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get to at least 50 without an issue. So, if I do get in long down here, my ultimate target would be like at the 50 area. Maybe like 49, just to be pretty safe. And so if price does come down to this daily zone, I would probably buy that. That's not financial advice. I'm just saying what I'm doing. I'll have to see what the COT reports say. Hopefully price moves down very nicely and we get a nice arrival into the zone. But like I said, I really like the zone because we've been ranging for a while. And this is the zone that broke the range, and that's a pretty strong zone in my opinion. If you look at the 4 hour, I don't use the 1 hour on oil, I only chart the 4 hour. Looks like we had a momentum break here, momentum shift. So I do expect, hopefully what happens is this 4 hour zone holds and we get a move down to this daily area where I will most likely be buying. Alright everyone, thanks again for watching this week's Forex forecast. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well if you don't mind. I really appreciate all the support. Let me know in the comments down below what pairs you're looking at this week, and maybe we can get in touch and you can send me a chart and let me know what you're looking at. I always like looking at charts. So with that being said, let's have a great trading week and let's make some money. Cheers.